Hello, I'm here with my dear colleague, Maxine Barnett, and my name is Dr. Shelly Cameron, and I am a leadership coach and an author. I wanted to go through today with you on the title of Mastering the Art of Goal Setting. And we're going to share with you 10 steps to master the art of goal setting as we go from a year end into another year. So I'll ask my colleague, Maxine, to introduce herself.
Thank you, Dr. Shelly. I am Maxine Barnett. I'm an executive coach. Dr. Shelly and I do some of the same things. I am the founder and CEO of Soft Skills Services. And yes, I'm here to discuss with Dr. Shelly today the importance of goal setting, especially as this time of the year. It's timely as we get ready to move into the new year. We don't set the goal for the new year in the new year, we set it before the new year. So thank you for having me, Dr. Shelly.
Absolutely. So before we get into the new year, we always want to look back at the current year that we're in. Look at the past goals that we've had over the year. And that will help us in propelling forward where we're going. So what we want to do is to review the achievements that we've had, always start on a positive note. So we celebrate the big wins of the current year. And the next thing that you can do also is to reflect on milestones achieved. And I would just ask Maxine if there's any milestone that she thought of in her company and in her business that she has achieved this year.
Absolutely. And as you said that, I got a big smile because the goal that was set this time last year was to have a big client, big corporate client, and something that sustained. And actually that has happened, and we are now looking to complete our first year together. And we are just at the point where we are going to be looking back together, both the client and myself, to see what we have accomplished. But the fact is that that journey happened in 2023.
Absolutely. That's
Mhm.
wonderful. And that's
Yeah.
an example of milestones that has been achieved and the big wins for Maxine Barnett of Soft Skills Services. Now, for me, as the founder of Global the Coaching Corner, what I do on an annual basis is to write a year in review. I like to write. And so I write a year in review. I reflect on the year, see what has happened, and then that pulls me forward into the year to propel and see what is happening there. Also, what is important too is to review the challenges. Now you have both personal challenges and you may have external challenges. You reflect on the obstacles or the setbacks, okay? So you reflect on those things that might have been obstacles that you're going ahead with and those things that may have set you back.
Sure.
What did you learn? Look at it and try to understand what did you learn from it and how can you use these to propel you forward and in your growth. So one of the things I wanted to share is sometimes we have the personal goals and we think of the personal goals, but guess what? Sometimes external factors come into play. Now think of the pandemic. You may have
Absolutely.
had quite a bit of stuff planned. And then out of the blue in 2020, we had the pandemic, which had nothing to do with you and your business or your personal career choices. It is an external factor. Am
Sure.
I
Sure.
um,
And
th-
and and
Go ahead, please.
yes, that is so interesting to talk about the things that are beyond our control and that can turn things around. But what's interesting, sometimes those same things that are beyond our control, and may
Yes,
appear to be negative, can turn around to be a positive. Because what I have found using COVID as an example
yes,
is that COVID really increased or heightened our virtual our virtual
absolutely,
virtual
100%.
coaching and virtual training and so on. So
Yes,
what was negative really turned out
yes.
to be a plus for some of
So
us.
we're one, and clients can be located
Hmm.
anywhere across
Anywhere.
the
Hmm.
world, and we're able to talk. I know you have done some
Sure,
business in Dubai. I've done business
sure.
in Dubai myself as well,
Right?
and it has
Africa,
just been exactly.
everywhere,
So it has brought
everywhere.
us all very
Sure,
close
sure.
together.
And
Now, if
caused us
we
to meet people from different parts of the world in an interesting way, because one of my clients, I was recommended by someone from Korea. And I thought that
exactly,
was interesting.
it's rather
Yeah.
interesting.
Hmm.
So the next step is also to assess the skills and the strengths
Yes.
and evaluate the core strengths and skills that contributed to your success. Just review the year and think about what has happened then. How can you use these as assets to overcome the challenges and achieve the goals that you have set for the new year? So I would give an example here. As an author, I had written my book on success strategies of leaders. And at the end of it, I would go out and give presentations to various groups and organizations. And individuals will come to me afterwards to say, how do I do this? Or how do I do that? And I think, oh my gosh, I just did a presentation. You want a personal insight. So what I did, books have babies, that's what they say. So I used my books, right, Success Strategies book, and then I laid it out for an individual. And that book is now called Ditch It or Switch It. And that is an example of learning something that is something good that happened, and then learning from the market or the needs of the clients and being prepared for it. So now I will jump forward into the 10 steps that we have.
Just to quickly add, some of
Go
those
ahead, please.
lessons learned, and like you say that you would prepare and end up. I love the expression "books are babies," so you pass on the information to others that way. What I have found as a trainer or coach is that once people have experienced what you have to offer, then you're invited to speak and share with others how it was done. So that's a complete
Exactly,
amount of
right.
success.
So the
Yeah.
learnings are very, very important. So
Lessons
as we
learned.
step forward into the new goal setting, new year goal setting, I like to think of it as setting meaningful goals for the year ahead. It must be meaningful. And then to equip yourself with actionable steps as to how to not only have those goals like fluff, but to turn them into reality.
Absolutely.
And number one, the first process is think about it. What is the objective that you'd like to achieve? What is a specific area or an aspect of life where you want to set a goal? What is the purpose of this goal? Now we think of things like marriage. Now, if you're thinking about marriage, that's going to be an entire year.
Oh
Unless,
my
of course,
goodness.
you're
I would
eloping
leave
and you're
that to
just going
you,
to do
Dr. Shelly.
you're going to just do a quick thing. Then you also have studies, right? You're deciding, okay, you have this career and what does it require? And you're going to think of the studies that you need to do. And as for us in our coaching area, for me personally, as a coach, I decided to up my coaching career. And I've been coaching for many years, many, many years. My background is people management. And in doing so, I've coached leaders in organization, managers, leaders, and executives in organization. But more so in our society now, I'm finding that there's so many people calling themselves coach. So that forced me to reevaluate myself and to be able to stand out, because you have to stand out. And I engaged in the coaching. So being a certified coach also helps. I'm a certified master coach now, and that has helped to lift the standards from someone who just gets up out of their bed and, okay, I'm a life coach today.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm a life coach. Or they attended one of our training programs because we did do some training. And out of that, they feel they can just be a coach. So it is so important today, even as people select coaches, to ensure that they select certified coaches and persons who can help them move from point A to point B.
Couldn't have said it better. And number two, step number two is to set SMART goals. So these are I think this is pretty common out there, but these are goals. SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And I think of specific as in Steve Jobs. And when you think of like making goals, that you have to avoid vague languages. Now, Steve Jobs, as far as I'm concerned, he was out there pretty vague. You know, you go to college, you graduate high school, decide to go to college, and he was going through all of this stuff and all, but that was pretty vague. Then things happened and he decided he was kicked out of the program, and now he had the opportunity to just go and sit in the classes that he wanted to do. Today, look at where he's no longer with us, but look at what happened. We all have an iPhone, we have the Mac and all of that from him going after what he really wanted to do. So it must be specific to think of what is it that you'd like to do? What problem would you like to solve in your life or in your organization? So those are the things. So
yes.
Yeah. So I'll move on from there to our next step, which is to break it down. You have to break it down, divide the larger goal into
into smaller bites.
smaller pieces,
Yes, yes.
right? It
Mm-hmm.
makes it more manageable, and you're able to manage the tasks that you have and the milestones. Maxine, would you like to share a little bit about the
Absolutely.
task and the milestones?
Sure. So firstly is that I am a believer in the SMART goals. The
Right.
SMART goals, as you said, specific,
Yes.
measurable, because if you
Yes.
can't measure it, I mean, yeah, and if
Right.
it's not specific, how will you measure it? You know, that kind of thing. So that
Right.
being able to measure it, and it doesn't have to be anything complex, like a complex
Right.
machinery to measure, but being
Right.
able
Right.
to measure and see, okay, how and when. So I can now do this. How will I know that I can now do this? So we're
Exactly.
able to measure it. And
Right.
I agree with you on the attainable. So the
Right.
goal must be, fairly big, fairly big. I should maybe move. The goal must be big enough, but it must not be so far out of your reach that you cannot attain it.
Right.
And
Right.
I heard you say relevant. I say realistic. I say both.
Yes.
The goal must be something that we can actually action, and we can actually
Yes.
see it and benefit from it. And
Exactly.
last but not least, the time
Of
bound
course.
completion. There must be a time frame by which you will accomplish this. If not, you will be going forever and forever and forever, not
Right.
accomplishing anything. So I'm a
Right.
big, big, big proponent of the SMART goal. So I had to just tag that on after.
So now when we break it down and divide it into smaller
Mm-hmm.
portions,
Mm-hmm.
this is, you look at the milestones and the tasks that you have
So
to take, the steps that you have to take in order to achieve that goal. And
absolutely.
4 is prioritize the tasks. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
one thing I like is putting them in the order of importance. But for me, I love
Mm-hmm.
to watch HGTV. Love it.
Mm,
And I like to just watch them, and they buy this really nice house, Property Brothers. They get this house, and then they decide that they're going to break
what they're
down the
gonna
walls
do.
and stuff.
Yes,
But guess
yes.
what I want to do? Once they fix the walls, I want to just get in there and lay down the carpet and put up all the decorations and everything, and all
Please
the
invite
rooms and
me when you do
everything.
yours. Please invite me.
Of course. So I want to do all of those things, but guess what? I don't care much about the flooring. The flooring may be rotten, or the roof may have issues. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about those things, not when I'm just building in
Right,
my
right.
little mind. But the
Mm-hmm.
property brothers, they do care about that. So
Absolutely.
they make sure everything is, all my excitement has to be delayed
Mm-hmm.
and making sure that everything is prioritized in the right way. What
Yes.
is the order of importance? Is
Mm-hmm.
it me putting down the carpet on the flooring, the current
Mm-hmm.
flooring,
Mm-hmm.
or am I going to test it to make sure which steps have to be tackled first? So those
Sure. Sure.
are some tasks that is very important to
Sure.
do.
Yeah.
And
Order of importance is always important because you
right,
can
right,
literally trip over yourself if you don't
ex
establish, an order
exactly.
to do things. Yes.
So
Yes.
first things first, always.
Oh
First
my
things
goodness, Stephen
first.
Covey.
Stephen Covey. First things
Yes.
first.
Yes.
Step number 5 is to visualize your success. And that is one thing I love to do. So as an author,
Mm-hmm.
again, I will share that when I'm deciding to do a book, what I like to do first is to print that book cover. So I order the book cover to be made, and then I put it up, and that helps me as a visual. Day in, day out, to remind me to write something towards that book. So that's one thing for me. If it's graduation, whatever it is, just put something there that you can visualize yourself. It might be mental. Visualize yourself at the end, achieving that goal. How will it feel? And what does it look like?
Right. Do
For
not
me, I do a
underestimate.
physical.
Sure, sure. Never underestimate the power of the vision board. You know,
Exactly. I love the vision board.
if we go back to our, I guess even childhood days, putting this
Yes.
up on the fridge, putting the thing up
Yes.
on the refrigerator. We didn't call it a vision board then, but and now the vision boards are now electronic and so on.
Exactly.
Let us not underestimate keeping that thing in front of us.
Yes.
It truly helps us. Yes.
Right. And what it does for me, because I had my little daughters and, my kids, I made sure that they didn't vision board every single year before it became a fad. It's just
Sure.
something that
Sure.
I just thought they would do. And you'd be surprised when I look back. The other day I was looking back and I saw maybe I looked at 5 vision boards that she's done over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? They were achieved.
Absolutely.
Some things may have taken a little longer to achieve,
Mm-hmm.
like as in
Mm-hmm.
studies. but you graduated.
Sure,
And
sure,
that's so amazing. So
sure.
it actually works. And thanks,
It
Maxine,
works. It
for
works. Yeah.
sharing again about that vision board. Number
Mm-hmm.
6 is to identify obstacles, potential obstacles that could happen. What are they? How can you? And we spoke a little bit about the pandemic and so on. So we won't necessarily go in it, but think about the obstacles, the potential obstacles. How can you prepare for the challenges ahead? There will always be challenges. You
Always.
design something and then something else happens. I know that the Gen Zs and millennials now have a lot of issues at work simply because the challenges are popping up.
Yeah.
I plan to take that travel trip away. And guess what? The supervisor decided that they're not going to approve my
Exactly.
PTO. No
Exactly.
vacation. So how can I do it? Am I going to give up my job to go on
Right.
this planned vacation, or what kind of thoughts I'm thinking? Actually, we're not supposed to be booking those tickets until we get the approval. But they do it the other way around. I will lose my money, and they book
Yes.
it.
As you talked about that in terms of mitigating, the things
Yes.
that could get in the way, I just had this image of making lemonade with lemons.
Ah.
So okay, so for some reason you presented with lemons, and lemons for some people aren't tasty. But if you
Uh,
say, okay, let's make lemonade, let's see how we can work with this. Who knows what the possibilities are?
yeah,
Yes.
what's that taste? By itself, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sure. So let's
then you
make
turn it into
lemonade
something
with lemons.
sweeter. So
Yes.
you plan that obstacle. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you.
Sure.
So the number 7 is develop a plan. Nothing happens without a plan. If you don't know where you're going,
Sure.
then you will never,
Right.
anything will take you wherever, because you're going to end up
Mm-hmm.
somewhere that you're not planning to go.
Absolutely.
So be specific about it. Create a detailed plan that
Mm-hmm.
outlines the task, the
Mm-hmm.
deadlines. We spoke about the SMART goals and
Mm-hmm.
resources required to achieve that goal. What
And
specific
realistic
actions should you
deadlines.
take in?
Realistic deadlines.
Realistic deadline. That
Mm-hmm.
is very, very important. So both of us are on the board of the program board for the Institute of Caribbean Studies, and
Mm-hmm.
we do the 30 under 30 honorees. Now
Sure.
they have to take a number of steps. In order for them to apply for that, they have to fill the application out. There are
Mm-hmm.
steps that they need to do, and then potentially follow up as well. Because
Right.
if you leave it to chance, what's going to happen? You may
Fall
miss
by
the
the
deadline.
wayside.
You've heard about it this year and all these nice
Yes.
things that are happening in Washington, D.C., but you
Mm-hmm.
may miss the deadline, the application
Absolutely.
deadline,
Yeah.
or you may omit something that is also necessary for you to participate in. So I think you need to develop a plan and stick to that plan. Get the resources that you need to do it, and just be creative in resources, because sometimes we say, oh, we don't have money. It's not all the time that you need money. Money is not always the resources. You have financial resources, yes, as in the money, but you also have time. You have your resources as in those people who you are known, your network.
Mm-hmm. So I hear you talk about the planning. I love to plan. So but the thing about planning, I mean, it's very easy to literally write down the plan, but the
Yes.
commitment to stick to it.
Ah,
In committing to stick to it, we may have to shift some things around in our lives. We may have to,
yes,
for some people, okay, so they want to start exercising, for example. It
yes.
may mean getting up earlier, you know. But
Are you talking to me?
oh my, how to save the cat fits? What can I say? No, but seriously, when you make that commitment to
Right,
stick to the plan, you may have to shift some things around in
right,
your life,
right, right,
and
right.
that is an important decision that has to be made.
Right, right. And
Mm-hmm.
then again, it's exhaustive, and the number of persons who use the new year
Mm-hmm.
as okay, I'm gonna get fit, or okay, I'm
Yes.
gonna use this
Oh,
pound,
that's the most
7 pounds.
popular one. I'm going
Right.
to lose
And
weight.
I didn't want to
Yes.
get into that one, but then
Mm-hmm.
it is very important because it is
Sure.
the popular one that people
Yeah.
try to get into. So there's
Mm-hmm.
by February,
Oh,
most persons
sometimes
have
earlier,
stuff.
the New Year resolution is done.
two, 2 weeks.
Yes, 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 yes.
So
But
I
that
didn't want
that's
to
a
get into that one,
decision
but
to
this
adjust. That decision
this
to change something. Sometimes
exactly.
it might be changing, might be making you a little uncomfortable. But if you commit,
Yes,
you will, be
exactly,
able to do it. Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
that in the point number 8 is to monitor and adjust. So you have regular review.
Right.
We're talking about the exercising, and just make sure that you plan ahead. You know exactly what to do. Regular review. It is important to monitor progress regularly.
Sure.
Assess how in the relationship, in relation to the goal that you want.
Mm-hmm.
Are you on track? Then make some adjustments. if you need to.
Absolutely.
So I would think of the studies. If you're deciding to study, then there's going to be some obstacles. Sometimes you're going to get to a point where that some part of the course might be more difficult than other parts. How are you going to go ahead and monitor your progress? How are you going to adjust it when you get to those that are difficult? Can you sign up for extra classes in the area that you're finding it difficult with? What can you do? But all you should do is to make sure that you plan ahead and not give up. That's my thing is always never give up.
Sure.
Never ever give up.
One of the things that I find that could be helpful as you plan and you want to stick to your plan is an accountability partner.
Yes, which is exactly where we are at now. So you can go ahead and speak. Accountability partner is actually very, very important. Go ahead.
Someone who you can bounce things off of, but someone who can say, "How is that going? Did you accomplish? Did you?" And it can take any form. Sometimes an accountability partner is a coach like you and me.
Yes, of course.
Sometimes it's a friend. But an accountability partner helps.
Right. So that's exactly where we're at this point 9. That coach, and both of us are coaches. So, and it's not to sell yourself, because as she said, as Maxine said, you can also have a friend who might be able to do it. But I will always caution about the friend. If your friend is somebody who's going to bring you down, if you're sharing your plan with a friend who doesn't really mean you well, because a lot of us have friends that we need to shed, then what is going to happen is not going to meet that goal. So find somebody who can hold you accountable. Somebody who is, they say sometimes your network is, the value of your network is important. So find that friend that is going to lift you up and not bring you down. Right.
And
also a mentor.
Not to tell you what you want to hear, but tell you the
truth. Exactly. Tell you the truth. That is what is important, and hold you responsible for your commitment. So that's one of the most important aspect of it. And finally, I'll say, celebrate success. Celebrate success.
Even the small ones.
Even the small ones. I'm a big proponent of not celebrating, because I'm an achiever. I go after goals and I meet them. And I'm happy that I've met them and I move on to the next goal. But I've learned, especially in my coaching program, that it is important to stop and celebrate. Sometimes I will go through a whole doctoral program and I won't be bothered to yes. Okay, one example is when I went through that doctoral program. It's an achievement for anybody.
Huge, not just an achievement.
Right,
huge achievement.
Huge achievement. And I wasn't going to attend the ceremony. I was really crazy. So, of course, it's good when you have family members and friends around and say, are you crazy, Shelly? Go and attend that. You need to celebrate it.
So I've done that with people who've done their first degrees, their bachelor's. I said, are you crazy?
Exactly. Every certificate, no matter what it is, it must definitely be celebrated. And that is something that I usually celebrate others. That's a funny thing. I celebrate others, but because I take myself for granted and the goals that I go after and I expect to achieve them, and not stepping back to say, okay, breather. And again, we go back to the steps. So it doesn't have to be the full thing. Just go back to the self, do a self-reflection and recognize your progress. So I expected to graduate in this year and realize that something happened, Broad University changed the program or something, and it's put forward to the next year.
Absolutely.
And very, very important to still celebrate.
You didn't make it. Don't beat up on it. Just lessons learned and put it to the next year. Yes.
Right. So it's important to do the celebration. Yay! And we're at the end of it. So I want to say thanks and stay motivated. You can find both of us online on LinkedIn. And I ask that you like, comment, and share this with someone you know who is going through some stuff and really need the help in doing something to achieve their goals. Maxine, where can they find you? I said LinkedIn, but is there...
Same way, you can actually find me on LinkedIn, but you can also go straight to my website, which has the same name as my company, softskillsservices.com.
softskillsservices.com. And I'm right there, Global Coaching Corner. Again, I'm Dr. Shelly Cameron, author and coach, as well as I'm always here for you. We're going to be having a little bit more detail on this in a workshop setting. So stay tuned to hear more about that, or reach out to us if it is something you'd like to do in your organization, or if you really need help from a coach personally, just reach out to us. My thing is shellycameron.com. You can find me there, or on LinkedIn, as we said. That's very, very important. Thank you so much. And Maxine, it has been a pleasure chatting
Thank you
with you.
it was a joy to join you in this conversation. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Bye.